I'm too old for you.
I recently watched the new Anne Hathaway movie called The Idea of You, and it really got me thinking about age gap relationships between older women and much younger men. Because after watching it, I realized this is a new trend that we're seeing a lot of. Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde, Kristen Cavallari. Back in the day, all we had was Demi and Ashton, and that was super taboo. But intergenerational romances are expected to increase in 2024. So today, we look at this social shift in relationships and debate the ethics of age gap love. We also ask whether these relationships are finally going from taboo to mainstream as more women date far younger men.
How old is too old? How young is too young? Who's taking advantage of who?
When we talk about age gap relationships among adults, we're typically talking about a 10-year spread between partners. While age gap relationships are still taboo, it is more common and socially acceptable to see much older men dating far younger women.
An epidemic of 20-somethings with old souls happening right now, according to all my 40-year-old friends. She's just got the oldest soul. Oh, really? Of course you like the only thing old about a woman that you can't see.
But societal norms are shifting in pop culture and in real life. I remember back in the early 2000s how taboo it was when Demi Moore married Ashton Kutcher because she was 15 years older than him, and the media really seemed to have a major problem with this. Women are still stigmatized today more than men when they date someone younger versus when they date a significantly older man.
I didn't know my being happy would piss so many people off. Did I not warn you? People hate happy women.
And I find this incredibly interesting because people have a lot of MILF fantasies out there.
Since you bring it up, is Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher still together?
No, they're not still together.
Oh.
They divorced and he remarried. But we are seeing a lot more romances between older women and younger men in recent years, which we hadn't seen really since then, in terms of high-profile relationships. Recently, Harry Styles dated Olivia Wilde, who was 10 years older than him. Actress Sienna Miller married a man 14 years younger. Reality star Kristen Cavallari is currently dating a man that's 13 years younger than her. He's in his mid-20s. And Heidi Klum's husband is 16 years younger than she is.
I haven't caught up on my celebrity gossip news in a while. Okay, good for them, I guess. So why do you think it's more socially acceptable for a woman to date a much younger man?
Because women today have the freedom to do what men do, and we don't necessarily need to marry for stability and money and things like that, like women have typically needed in the past because they couldn't work. But we also get a lot more cosmetic procedures today than in the past. So women are out there getting Botox and fillers and facelifts and breast augmentations to look 10 to 20 years younger than they look. I mean, Demi Moore today is 61 years old. She looks freaking amazing. She looks like she's 40. So you can't always tell the difference between an older woman and a younger man just by looking at them. Also, there are assisted reproductive technologies that allow older women to have children if they're struggling with fertility problems. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this shift. My entire life, it's been so common for me to see my female friends dating much, much older guys and seeing my male friends dating much, much younger women. But I currently don't know any women my age who are dating much younger men. So I think this is really a very interesting thing that we're seeing. And I do think in pop culture, all these celebrities now openly doing this is a bit of a cool feminist thing in my perspective. I think it's cool to see women dating men that they like just because they like them, even if they are much younger, and just saying to hell with society and what they think about our relationship. I really like this person and I'm gonna date them and I don't really care what you think.
What about what people will say?
I don't care what they say.
So I feel like, I don't have the facts, I didn't look this up, but I feel like now that we're seeing it more on social media, it's more socially accepted to date people that are from different generations. But what are the ethical considerations that should be applied if you're gonna do something like that?
Yeah, that's a really important question because the main concern is over grooming, which is when an adult establishes a relationship with a minor to take advantage of them. Sometimes this adult would spend years psychologically manipulating, like a teenager, and would wait until they turn of legal age, 18, before initiating physical intimacy. But they would be preparing them for this relationship, manipulating them in order to take advantage of them. So of course that is a massive concern. But I think there is a major difference between a 40-year-old dating a 30-year-old than there is between an 18-year-old dating a 28-year-old. 18-year-olds still look very young. They have young developing minds. They're impressionable. They haven't had many experiences. So it's very possible that there could be a concerning power imbalance.
They don't have old souls! A few of them do! I know a couple that actually do have old souls because something traumatic happened to them. And they need to go heal from it. They don't need to be humped by you in your old body.
But not everyone thinks these relationships are unethical. And those people ask, who's taking advantage of who? Is it the old rich guy or the young woman with no money? Each potentially has something to gain or possibly lose from the other. So a lot of people wonder, is this a fair exchange? Is it predatory? Is it true love? I guess it depends on who you ask, and of course, every case is going to be different.
That's a good point, that every case is different. I haven't dated an 18-year-old since I was 19, so...
Have you noticed that there is a certain cutoff for maturity levels with women, or would you be kind of open to dating anybody who's of legal age?
As someone that's in their 40s, I've dated people primarily in their 30s, but I've dated someone in their late 20s. And no, I haven't noticed a difference in maturity level necessarily on the level of the personality. Maybe the decision making, but I mean, it's hard to say.
Okay, would you go 10 years in the opposite direction and date a woman in her 50s?
Yeah, maybe. But I haven't met someone that is in their 50s, so like I'm usually meeting people around their late 20s, early 30s.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, how about you? Would you date a much younger guy? How about an 18-year-old man that came over and fixed your toilet or something?
Definitely not. Well, for the record, I'm married, so this is all hypothetical. Look, I'm in my late 30s, which means I would be dating men in their late 20s if they were 10 years or more younger, something like that, in their 20s. And I find that men in their 20s are very immature. I mean, when I was in my 20s, they were incredibly immature, and they are still immature. I'm trying to date a man, somebody who is emotionally intelligent, somebody who's not an F-boy, somebody who can show up for me and not mess around with me. So I don't think that I would be dating anybody in their 20s at this point in life. In terms of going the other direction, I don't think I would date somebody in their 50s either. I'm just not attracted to much older men. Never say never, never say never. You know, there could be some true love in the air and there could be an exception, but typically I have not dated men who are more than 3 or 4 years older than me.
I've met attractive women in their 40s that are my age. I'm just, not meeting anyone older than that usually, so I don't know.
When I'm in my 40s or in my 50s, you better believe that I am going to absolutely want to date younger men because it would make me feel a lot younger. And hopefully, by the time I get there, men 10 years younger than me would be a lot more mature than men in their 20s.
I will agree with you that men in their 20s are way less mature than women are at that age.
I mean, they don't have matching dishes. Like, you go to their house, it's a bachelor pad. Like,
well, I'm still there.
Okay, so it doesn't get better in their 40s, so maybe you're
It's
mad.
not a priority.
I don't want to go to a man's house and be like, you don't even have matching sheets. Sorry, like, I'm not coming in here.
Hey, I just got a bed the first time last year.
Where were you sleeping before, Tyson?
Mattress on the floor.
Oh, no.
Since my breakup, mattress on the floor.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. You had a breakup, so, assets were divvied
Yeah, I
up.
lost the king-size bed.
Yeah, okay.
What about Gen Z kids that are becoming of age and they're starting to date? How do they feel about dating someone 10 years older or more?
So anybody of legal age on the younger side, like 18, 19, it seems like most of them are not open to dating somebody 10 years older because somebody even 2 or 3 years older than them at that point seems unfathomable to date. At least that's kind of what we see on TikTok. But you do also on TikTok see some 18-year-olds with boomers, and that to me is quite shocking. But yeah, I think it's still taboo, just as it is in our generation. But we are seeing more and more of these happening now. And I do think that the taboo is starting to go away a little bit. Also, Gen Z, a lot of them have more information, so they do often see these relationships as being problematic, and they know more about being groomed, they know more about power dynamics, and, that's how they might feel now when they're super young, like 18, 19, but they could change their mind when they get a little bit older. So we'll see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What do you guys think of these relationships? Would you ever date somebody who was 10 years younger or 10 years older? Let me know why or why not in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, be sure to subscribe to The Social Shift for more stories like this. I'm your host, Brigida,